Moving over to the defense, which we mentioned numerous times, is that Wyoming, just known for always having a strong defense. They do return a fair amount of production from last season on the defensive side of the ball, but they do lose leading tackler, linebacker Easton Gibbs to the NFL. They return second leading tackler Shane Suianoa, Wyatt Eckler, Isaac White, Jordan Bertagnole, and Devon Harris, among others. How did the defensive unit look in the spring, and did anyone stand out for that defense?
Yeah, I think as I was just talking about, the offensive line is, I don't want to say weakness, but they have some question marks there. So that the defense and a lot of the open spring practices, you could kind of tell that the defensive line was winning a lot of those battles. They lost a starting defensive tackle in Gavin Meyer. He just transferred to USC after the spring game, so that's been really their only loss out of the transfer portal this offseason. But they have plenty of depth on that defensive line. Obviously, you mentioned Shea Suianoa was the weak side linebacker right next to Easton Gibbs, so he's going to slide over and be that Mike linebacker this year, which obviously you mentioned the tradition. You had Chad Muma, Logan Wilson, Easton. I mean,
Yeah.
he's played alongside of plenty of talented guys, and I'd be shocked if he's not continuing that tradition of being all Mountain West linebacker. And really, their secondary, they return both starting safeties, and they return Rook Brown at nickelback. So their secondary is in pretty good shape. Beyond, they're gonna have to figure out kind of their number two, number three, number four corners. But they're returning a lot of experienced guys, and like you said, they won 9 games last year, and a lot of these guys coming back were a part of that.
Was there another linebacker that stepped up to kind of to take that secondary role, if you will, next to Shane?
Yeah, I think it's hard to guess, I guess, like what the depth chart would be this early before fall camp. But Evan Eller was he transferred in from Virginia Military Institute. I talked to him in the spring. Him and Connor Shea are kind of, that would be my guess for who's going to kind of take over that weak side linebacker spot. And Wyoming's, I don't know if it'll change. Craig Bull's son, Aaron Bull, was promoted from linebacker coach to defensive coordinator this offseason, with Jay Salvell being promoted to head coach. So I don't know if I'm assuming the defense will stay pretty similar to how it's been since he's been here, but I'd be surprised if it wasn't Evan Eller and Connor Shea just kind of fighting out that last linebacker spot on that weak side.
If you had to pick a defensive player to have a breakout type season in 2024, who would that be?
Yeah, I mentioned the cornerbacks. I'm gonna go with Tyrekus Davis. He's, I don't want to guarantee anything, but like just from what I've heard and just kind of the vibes of spring camp, he's kind of locked into that number one corner spot. He's Colby Taylor left. He transferred to Vanderbilt, so he's probably their most experienced cornerback at that number one spot. And he kind of struggled at the beginning of the year. He missed a couple tackles in that Texas game, but he really turned it on, I'd say, in the last 6 7 games after an injury. And I'd be surprised if he wasn't their best cornerback going into this next season.